Good afternoon and welcome to People's Voice on VOP Television, where we amplify the concerns, stories, perspectives and voices of Nigerian citizens while discussing issues of interest to the people. My name is Adefunke Jaisimi, and today on People's Voice we are discussing some of the most pressing issues in Nigeria, including the recent attack on Benue State's Guma local government area, Yelewata precisely, which has claimed over 200 lives and sparked widespread outrage. Well, in a breaking news or maybe new development, the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has arrived Makurdi and he went straight to the hospital. He arrived Makurdi, the Benue state capital, to commiserate with the people of the state over the attacks and killings of citizens in the state. The president was received at the airport by the state governor, Reverend Father Aliyah, among other state and national dignitaries from in and outside the state. On leaving the airport, President Tinubu headed straight into the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, Makurdi, where he visited the victims of the Yelewata attacks who were there receiving treatment. He is also expected to perform other functions, including meeting with stakeholders from the state to find lasting solutions to the crisis amid calls for him to declare a state of emergency. Well, we're still following up with the details in Benue State and we'll bring more details to you later. Let's talk about understanding the Benue State crisis. The attack has raised concerns about the government's ability to protect its citizens, with the Benue State House of Assembly condemning the attack and urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take a decisive action, a tough one at that. Governor Aliyah has also assured that security agencies are working to ensure that this crisis are being addressed. And the Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, attributes the conflict to animals going after crops rather than a farmer-herder clash. But the situation remains tense as well-meaning Nigerians have argued that it is insensitive to judge the matter that way and to underreport the reality of the people who have been maimed and killed in their own homes, with a lot of eyewitness reports flying everywhere across different digital platforms. It's quite disappointing to limit the event or the crisis in Benue State to just animals going after crops. But in another development, let's talk about President Tinubu's development initiative. In a bid to promote inclusive development, the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has also signed 3 bills establishing federal tertiary institutions in the southeast region of Nigeria. This move aims to expand access to education for young people in the region and has been praised by Sam Onuigbo, a former 2-term member of the House of Representatives. This development initiative showcases the president's commitment to improving the nation's human capital without marginalization of any region. Meanwhile, controversy is brewing within the All Progressives Congress APC over Vice President Kashim Shettima's potential re-election bid. Some stakeholders are opposed to Shettima, citing concerns about the ineffectiveness of the Muslim ticket and his perceived lack of political acumen. Others support him or propose alternative candidates, highlighting the complexities of Nigeria's political landscape. But yes, you know how it is here with our politics. There's always a news today and you wake up to another breaking news tomorrow. But we are following the stories to know exactly what the situation is and the update ahead of the 2027 election. But yes, this has also given the opposition, the People's Democratic Party, the Labour Party, and other political parties, these are giving them a reason to come at the All Progressives Congress, saying that at the end of the day, it rains everywhere. But in a very different development, yes, the Women Manifesto Coalition has condemned attempts to silence Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan through judicial harassment. They warn that this threatens the rights of all Nigerian women and have called for an immediate halt to the harassment. This issue highlights the ongoing challenges faced by women in Nigerian public sphere, and a lot of women advocacy group has come to say this is more of an attack on women in politics. But as we navigate these complex issues, we would explore the implications for Nigeria's stability, development, and democracy. Join us as we examine these stories in depth and discuss potential solutions to these pressing issues. Be a part of the conversation by calling or text us on 090-447-32605. You can follow us on social media at VOPTV Live and tweet us using the hashtag People's Voice on VOPTV. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. Do well to click the subscribe button and let's make our voices heard and shape the narrative that affects every one of us. It's time to go on a break and come back stronger as we dissect these issues and more on People's Voice. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to the People's Voice. Today we are discussing the recent reports on attempts to silence Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan through judicial harassment. Womanifesto, a coalition of Nigerian women's group, has strongly condemned these attempts, calling for an immediate halt to the intimidation of the senator. The incident, on June 16, 2025, a large contingent of armed police attempted to arrest Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan at the Federal High Court in Abuja without prior formal notification of any new lawsuit. This aggressive move was thwarted by a vigilant lawyer exposing a sinister plot to muzzle a dissenting female voice. Well, on the part, the group has responded through its co-convener, Dr. Abiola Akinyode Afolabi, saying that this is not just an attack on Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan. It is an assault on every Nigerian woman who dares to speak truth to power. The coalition highlighted the flagrant disregard for due process, noting the attempt to arrest the senator without proper legal procedures and duplications of charges in multiple courts. So now they are making demands, and this demand is immediate cessation of intimidation, an end to all forms of harassment and intimidation against Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan. They are also asking for protection of Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's right to express her views on matters of public interest and alleged harassment. So on the part of solidarity, they are talking about unity in solidarity from all Nigerians, civil society organizations, and international communities in defense of democracy, human rights, and women voices in Nigeria. Yes, many may wonder why is this of importance. It is quite important because this case, in their own words, highlights the broader attempt to silence Nigerian women and suppress their voices in political discourse. The judiciary must remain independent and not be weaponized for political vendettas. The coalition also urged Nigerians to resist this calculated move to intimidate women from speaking out against justice. Yes, it's about this and more because there's been a lot of suggestion and counter-suggestion as to other women in both chambers of the National Assembly who are still maintaining their offices, and they have come to say that, well, these people are not intimidated. But either way, this is a sensitive issue and we really need to look deep into it, after which we come to talk about President Tinubu's current stay in Makurdi. But joining me for this conversation now from our Benin studio is Comrade Bobby Egosa Obayowana, a public affairs analyst and political commentator. Good afternoon, Comrade Bobby.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. We are excited to have you share your insights on this development in our nation. I mean, it's a very interesting time to be a Nigerian. I'm sure you agree with me.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Let's dive right in now. Comrade Bobby, what are your thoughts on the condemnation of the judicial harassment of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan? And how do you think this incident highlights a broader issue of intimidation of women in Nigeria politics?
For me, the attempt by some part of the political gang or class to silence the power of dissenting voices in the person of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is now beginning to culminate into legislative rascality, because out of the 109 senators that we have in the Nigerian Senate, we have only 4 senators. Unfortunately, 1 senator has been suspended. And if you want to arrest anybody, there is usually a warrant of arrest that should not be at variance with the Constitution. This woman already has a subsisting case in court, which is yet to be concluded because of the sinister motive of some persons that belong to the political class. They decided to use the judiciary as an instrument of promoting political vendetta, which I am using this platform to say no, to say a kabudu rejectamenta to that attempt. If democracy must prosper in Nigeria, the voices of public opinion from the opposition must be heard. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is a Nigerian who do not deserve any form of oppression whatsoever. So I want to stand with the manifestation move by Akiyode Afolabi to say that the judiciary in Nigeria should begin to be more objective, should begin to reflect equity, justice, and fairness, should begin to reflect the tenets of the rule of law, and should never be used as a weapon to promote political vendetta. Because Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan is the most vocal female senator, those suspended in Nigeria. So, and this portends a legislative disaster for our nascent democracy, if not properly handled. Because I can tell you for free that ever since that woman was suspended, the majority of Nigerians are no longer interested in the matters of the Senate. And majority of Nigerians no longer trust the legislative process and the activities that go on in the Senate.
Well, it's quite unfortunate.
I'm coming because many persons are beginning to see this as a calculated attempt to silence the voices of women. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is not just a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She is representing the voices of women.
Exactly. That's where
political parties involved.
That's where I want us to go, Comrade Bobby.
Any attempt to use the judiciary against her or politicize the entire process amounts to legislative rascality.
Okay. Do you think that this particular incident highlights a broader issue of intimidation of women in Nigerian politics?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. How many percent of women do we have in Nigerian politics to begin with? In the Senate, we have just 4 women. How many women do we have in the House of Representatives?
We actually have a lot of women in Nigerian politics, but not in governance.
I agree, but when compared to the male population, we are talking about a vocal female senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria here. She has a subsisting case that she is yet to conclude in court. Now they are bringing another form of intimidation approach to further silence her voice. Senator Natasha is speaking on behalf of her constituents. Senator Natasha is a reflection of the voices of women in the Nigerian Senate.
Wow.
We should say things the way they are.
Understandable.
So for me, this move is undemocratic. This move is tyrannical. This move is not a reflection of social justice, equity, and fairness. This move is not supposed to be part of the character of the Nigerian justice system. Because what this portends for the Nigerian, I'm coming. What this portends for the Nigerian justice system is that they are not only trying to silence the voices of women through Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, they are trying to silence the voices of any form of opposition, which can never make any sane democracy healthy.
All right, it's quite unfortunate. I totally understand the energy and the passion in your opinion, but the truth is, you would also ask questions about when you talk about opposition, even within the political party that is supposed to be our own party, what exactly is the drama going on? But how do you assess the potential impact of this controversy on Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's political career and the representation of women in Nigeria's National Assembly, looking at how silent or cold our own political party has been in all of this drama?
This is a further attestation to the fact that the ruling class is using every means to silence voices. So even the PDP that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is from, though they have their internal political crisis, the PDP over time has been politically silenced by the ruling class of the APC, using the national fragmentation of the party to further destabilize and decimate the political structure within the party organogram.
So you are going to blame the APC for the PDP not supporting Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan?
Not at all. What I am not at all is the APC should not capitalize on the fact that some of these opposition parties have political crisis within themselves and begin to silence the voices of the vocal opposition representatives.
I totally understand that, but I'm talking about the potential impact of this on our political career. Looking at the deafening silence of our own political party, which is not supposed to be the function of the All Progressives Congress.
Of course, the potential impact is they are only making Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan more popular. And if the ruling class continue to mishunt her politically, she will become more recognized than they ever thought. It was because of the internal political crisis that they had in the Nigerian Senate that gave her the international recognition, where she had to cry to the UN and her voice was heard. Don't forget that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan became more popular,
of course,
as a result of the issues she had with the Nigerian Senate president. And going forward, holistically, our democracy should be practical in the aspect of allowing dissenting voices to end their opinions. We don't want a situation where it will not be as if the ruling class is trying to muscle out every other form of opposition, and at the end of the day, they just want the one-party system to be the face of the Nigerian democracy, which I am saying a kabudu rejectament at all. That is my humble opinion on this issue.
All right, thank you very much for that response. We need to go to Makurdi to hear what the people are saying, but I want to ask you one more question. In a culture like us, where women are usually judged by standards or opinion or by things that they've done in the past and not what they are capable of doing, do you believe that the call for solidarity in defense of democracy, human rights, and women's voices in Nigeria will resonate with Nigerians? I understand your position, but bring it back to the larger population.
Yes, that is what we need to fix sanity and culpability in our baby nascent democracy of Nigeria just now. Nigerians are beginning to gather themselves in solidarity. This is not just a wake-up call for the Manifesto group, but a wake-up call for all well-meaning Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, race, religion, or ethnic affiliations. Nigerians should be more united. Nigerians should resist any form of broad daylight tyranny oppressive tendencies and any form of undemocratic policies, programs, and activities that tend to impinge our democracy. So this wake-up call by the Manifesto group of Afolabi and the likes is an extension of the solidarity of Nigerians just now. And you made a reference to what is going on in Benue State.
We're going to go there. Before we dwell on what is happening in Benue State, I'd like us to see from the videos that are online now, yes, because I like the fact that the people are vocal about this for the very first time in a long while. Even the reception of the president, receiving the president, it was a mix of attitude and reaction. Whatever the state governor has planned was totally different from what the people have, and they came out en masse to show what their pains are. And there is the Professor James Ayashe, a Tortiv member, telling the president in a video that the misinformation about the killings in Benue State is quite alarming, and said that what they are dealing with is a calculated, well-planned, and full-scale genocidal invasion and land-grabbing campaign by either terrorists or bandits. I want us to take a listen so we can come back to talk about it.
We do have grave concern about the misinformation and misrepresentation of the security crisis in Benue State. Your Excellencies, it is not herder farmers clashes, it's not communal clashes, it's not repressor attacks or skirmishes. It is this misinformation that has led to suggestions such as remain tolerant, negotiate for peace, learn to live with your neighbors. What we are dealing with here in Benue is a calculated, well-planned, full-scale genocidal invasion and land-grabbing campaign by herder terrorists and bandits, which has been on for decades and is worsening every year. Wrong diagnosis will always lead to wrong treatment. So we are dealing with something far more sinister than we think about. It's not learning to live with your neighbors. It is dealing with a war. We do have grave concern .
All right, there you saw a representative from the I think, tribe in Benue State addressing the president. And I think that this is one of the most important steps in all of the plans for this presidential visit, because there's been a lot of speculation, there's been a lot of military report, there's been a lot of intelligence, there's been a lot of security updates on what is happening in Benue State. But the reality is the people in Benue State are the ones facing this crisis, and they are the ones that can speak about the reality of what is happening on ground. Yes, the president is available, he's on ground in Benue State. We are looking forward to what the result will be at the end of the day, and hoping that these direct conversations will help us, will help him get perspectives, better perspectives on the issues, and further help to make decisions on the way to go forward. But let me come back to our guest, Comrade Bobby. Comrade, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
All right. I hope you heard what the man was saying in that video, saying that what is happening in Benue State is beyond farmer, is beyond animals after crops. This is a well-calculated crisis, and it's happening over. It's been happening over a period of time, and I don't think that it's a function of how long this has been in place. It should be about ending it now. nobody deserves to experience what is happening in that part of the country at this time. How do you react to his submission?
I totally agree with him, because this issue of insecurity has been politicized for so long, to the extent that we've not really seen any headway from the government of the day. They always come up with one intelligence report or the other. And at the end of the day, they end up not giving us substantial, practical, empirical solutions to these issues. The president should rise up to the occasion. Nigerians in Benue deserve security. His primary responsibility is to safeguard the lives and property of the good people of Benue and indeed Nigerians at large. This man is speaking the minds of the good people of Benue State. All those false information, fragmented security and intelligence reports should be swept aside. We need practical solutions. The president should show his capacity as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The president should be more proactive, and we should, in fact, our security agencies should, as a matter of urgency, become more proactive than reactive. Because what we have been seeing over time, not just in Benue State, but in Plateau, in parts of the south,
right,
in parts of the northeast and northwest, are reactive measures. Nigerians are tired of excuses. We need practical solutions.
Okay.
The president should employ technological devices to comb our bushes.
Okay, comrade.
To comb our communities.
Comrade.
All those places in Yelewata,
right,
they should carry out a total security check in the exits and entry points of the major communities in Benue and not just in Yelewata.
Exactly.
So His Excellency, I'm coming. His Excellency should, as a matter of urgency, make sure that he listens to the people. In fact, if he has to even spend 2 or 3 more days in Benue State to meet with some inhabitants of Yelewata themselves, he should do so.
Yeah,
that is how the people can be. I'm telling you.
I wanted to respond to the combing of the
security issue in Nigeria now. It calls for urgent worries and concerns.
Right.
We are tired of excuses. We need practical solutions. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to come in when you talk about combing our forest. I mean, it's quite heartbreaking to say that this thing started from, I think there was the Apa area, there's the Gwen local government, and it looks like these people understand the terrain, they understand the landmass, they understand that state. And it's quite unfortunate that they are steps ahead of our own security apparatus. But do you think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presence in Makurdi today is going to cause a significant progress in how the situation will be dealt with, looking at how the people have come out to talk about what their realities are? I mean, having a one-on-one conversation is beyond political. This is somebody experiencing what is happening there, telling the president the true story, not the governor of the state declaring a public holiday to welcome the president or going about posting banners all over the state where people are grieving. What exactly do you expect from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presence in Makurdi?
Proactive measures. His presence in Makurdi, no doubt, we expect will improve the security architecture of Benue State. He is still our commander-in-chief. He is still the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His presence in Benue State will directly or indirectly affect the security mentality of the security operatives in Benue State. However, what we want Mr. President to do as the father of the nation is that he should charge all security agencies to ensure that all parts of the city centers where these terrorists are fast advancing into people's homes should be well teleguided. Then, yes, it's very important.
Right.
Because it's as if these faceless criminals and bandits and terrorists, they are becoming more proactive than even our security agencies. So the president should call an emergency security meeting in Benue State.
Okay.
After having a one-on-one interaction with those that are directly affected
the stakeholders
from these security issues, he should call an emergency security situation and mandate them to ensure that this security situation is put to a standstill, and all those intelligence reports should reflect in the reality of the safety of the good people of Benue State. That is how we will know that, yes, the positive telltale signs from the presence of Mr. President in Benue State spurs productive results for our security architecture.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But by extension, we also hope that this is being replicated across different states and regions in the country, because insecurity is gradually ravaging our communities, and regardless of how much work or success the security apparatus come to, I mean, when they come out to talk about their scorecard, it is quite important to know that Nigerians have so much to deal with, and whatever is happening in Benue State should be extended to other states too. We have Plateau State, we have Zamfara, we have, I mean, what part of the country is totally free? I don't think there is any. But I want you to talk about the position of those who are asking or calling or demanding for a state of emergency declaration in Benue State. What's your thought?
For me, I go with their thoughts, because the insecurity level of Benue State is a threat to the entire country. Let us not forget that Benue State is the food basket of the nation.
Right.
And if you go to major markets across city centers in the 36 states of the Federation, due to the level of insecurity that is ravaging our crops, the lives and property of the good people of Benue State, Plateau State, Zamfara State, and some strategic parts of the country, it is beginning to tell in the economic activities of our markets. So, His Excellency, if he has to declare a state of emergency on the security architecture of Benue State, yes, I go with them, because this thing is becoming more problematic. We never envisaged that the insecurity level will skyrocket and culminate into this level of high tension and panic, not just for the good people of Benue State, but for the entire country by extension. If Benue, that is the food basket of the nation, is threatened with this level and high rate of insecurity, what becomes of the other parts of the country? So for me, a state of emergency should be declared on the security architecture of Benue State, considering the fact that past intelligence reports and some of these engagements have not really yielded any practical results. Rather, the insecurity situation keeps getting worse by the day. People can no longer sleep with their two eyes closed. You know? So please, His Excellency should declare a state of emergency, if possible, to wake up the security architecture of Benue State, because the good people of Benue State deserve safety of their lives,
which
their
is
property,
very important.
They deserve peace. And by extension, the good people of Nigeria deserve security from this administration. Thank you.
Still talking about the suggestion of the declaration of state of emergency. This is because there are a lot of people saying that the governor is probably tired, haven't met, or maybe he did not prepare for what is currently facing. And that leaves us with the question of people coming into power and becoming overwhelmed. I mean, what exactly are we supposed to look for in politicians or candidates prior to elections? Because, I mean, it's never going to be the same. You can't get into office and all you can say when situations turn out like this is come to our aid. It is understandable that the presidency, the buck stops on his table, but we understand that there are three tiers of government: the local government, the state government, and also the president. But Nigerians are seriously concerned about the position of Reverend Father Aliyah. How do you react to this?
The competence of the current governor of Benue State is under threat. In Edo State, where I come from, we had the former governor, Governor Godwin Nogegase Obaseki, who ensured that there was an effective security architecture and apparatus that reduced every level of threat to the security of the lives of the good people of Edo State. Till tomorrow, it is still a track record and an historical feat in the annals of democracy in Edo State. What we are seeing in Benue State is that the people, out of moral suasion and political persuasion, felt a reverend father that usually serves mass in a Catholic church could come to their rescue, and they threw caution to the wind, forgetting the fact that capacity, competence, and character should show in the individual's primary responsibility of being able to safeguard and protect the lives and property in that state. With what is coming out from the mouth of the Benue State governor, it shows that he is politically handicapped and incapacitated to run the security architecture of the state. It should have an effective local community policing mechanism. It should work closely, more assiduously, with the security agencies of the state. He's the chief security officer of the state, for crying out loud.
Right.
It should give them responsibilities and charge them to give him positive results. If he knows he cannot be able to put the security architecture of Benue State in order, it is either he resigns honorably or he should not think of a second term. Because the primary responsibility of that governor is to protect the lives and property of the good people of Benue State.
All right.
So he must rise up to the occasion and he must take responsibility as a matter of urgency.
Thank you so much for your submission, Comrade Bobby. We hope that this visit brings hope and strength to the people of Benue State, and may these killings become a thing of the past. It's time to go on a break. When we return from the break, we'll dive into the topic of the Southeast inclusion in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, particularly with the recent approvals. Please stay with us. Glad to have you stay with the People's Voice on Voice of the People Television. This is the only station that is about projecting and amplifying your voices and concerns. And we stand in solidarity with every Nigerian that is not feeling Nigerian enough. We would get through this phase and we will survive it. Well, let's move to the Southeast. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has signed 3 bills establishing federal tertiary institutions in the Southeast, expanding access to education for young people in the region. This move has been praised by Sam Onuigbo, a former 2-term member of the House of Representatives, who commended the president's commitment to inclusive development, saying that the Southeast will not be marginalized. The key point here is the fact that the bills establish federal universities and colleges in Abia and Imo states. This development aims to promote education and human capital development in the Southeast region. The move also has been seen as a positive step towards addressing the region's educational needs. So, let me come to my guests, Comrade Bobby.
I'm here.
All right, yeah, so charged, ever ready for the conversation. Thank you so much for bringing so much insight to the topics of discussion today. Let's talk about this recent development. How do you think this development will impact the Southeast region's socio-economic development?
This is a very laudable achievement by His Excellency Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. And for those that know me, this is the first time I'm coming out openly to appreciate what His Excellency has done in terms of improving the education sector in the Southeast of Nigeria. It shows social inclusiveness in governance.
Right.
It reflects the federal character policy, which our democracy should be known for.
Right.
And it will also improve the Human Development Index from the southeastern part of Nigeria, which in its entirety and in all sanity, in all ramifications of administrative productivity in terms of educational proclivity to deliver as a president, Tinubu has done well. However, he should ensure that those institutions that he has assented to through his signature, they guarantee the education of the common man. Not that they will not turn into federal tertiary institutions that will not be used to overcharge students who most of whom come from indigent homes.
Right.
This is where the true nature of federal character policy should reflect in the lives of common Nigerians. Yes, those institutions will create jobs. However, the tuition fees should not be at the detriment of the education of an average Nigerian student from the Southeast, because that has been an issue of controversy in our federal tertiary institution in recent times, where people can no longer differentiate between the school fees of a federal institution from that of either a state or private university, for instance. So for me, it should set up a tactical monitoring and evaluation team to checkmate the activities of those institutions. But holistically, this is a blessing to our educational sector in Nigeria. This is a blessing to the good people of the southeastern part of Nigeria.
Right.
And this will in turn create this social inclusivity in governance that a lot of Nigerians have been praying to have since this administration took over from the last administration. And this one should not also be a political means to campaign, no, because what we need in Nigeria now is the delivery of the dividends of democracy.
Right.
And that is why I will continue to be grateful to the Voice of the People TV for giving us this opportunity to speak truth to power objectively and not tend to hide the reality of Nigerians under the carpet in the way some issues are being analyzed elsewhere.
All right.
So for me, this is a representation of truth. This is a representation of the interests and yearnings of Nigerians. It should also spread it to other parts of Nigeria, because the southeastern part of Nigeria is becoming an enviable region in the political landscape and geographical entity of modern Nigeria.
Okay.
So kudos to His Excellency.
All right.
Thank you very
Kudos
much,
to,
and we need more.
Kudos to the president. Kudos to his administration, because I mean it's about the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But let's delve deeper. What implications might this have for the region's access to quality education and human capital development?
Of course, this is a right step in the right direction, and it is one part of the political circumference that the good people of the Eastern region will want to include into their political reality, as far as sanity of democracy and sanctity of good governance are concerned. So, going forward, this will increase the level of job creation in the southeastern region of Nigeria, as many persons that have left school over time and are looking for ways to get jobs would have the opportunities of applying to these institutions. However, the recruitment process should also reflect fairness. Because this one is an opportunity to empower Nigerians and not to benefit the slots of the elitists.
Exactly. I was going there too. What's your submission?
In fact, the recruitment process should be publicized on national daily newspapers, because this is not a southeastern regional institution. It is a federal institution that gives ample opportunities for Nigerians across the 36 states
so
of the
don't you
country
think that there should be
apply.
preference? Don't you think there should be preference for people from the southeast region?
Of course, there should be preference. There should be preference. I will not lie about that one. There is usually preference for the host community as far as federal character policy is concerned. However, the preference should not be politicized to a fault and to a default to the detriment of the interest of the majority of Nigeria.
Okay.
Because those institutions were cited in that the bill was assented to for the benefit of Nigerians. So those institutions should objectively reflect the realities of federal character policy that the president at all times should want call in his political engineering and in his policies and programs for the entire nation.
All right.
And let me also use this opportunity to say that they should also spread such dividends to other parts of the country who are also, like, for instance, now we are talking about the issue of certain CBT centers, computer-based centers in the north. They should extend it to the south-south, the southwest, the northwest, the north-central, the northeast, so that we can have an even form of equitable distribution of this federal character dividend.
Okay, Comrade
for
Bobby,
the entire country.
we are pressed for time.
Culpability and sanity in our democracy. So kudos, Mr. President. Continue to try, but we don't want to hear campaign.
Mr. President, you heard it straight from Benin City and those states. And you know these people, they speak truth to power. And right there, Comrade Bobby is saying that this is not a time to campaign. Do this project for the benefits of Nigerians, and it's not about using this project as a campaign bait for the citizens. But in one word, how does this fit into President Tinubu's broader agenda for inclusive development and nation building that we all can be proud of in a minute? Yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful step for His Excellency Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. This is an opportunity for him to show that he truly cares about the interest of Nigerians, and not just from the southwest, not just from that of the southwest where he comes from. Since he is able to do this in the southeast, if he can extend this to the south-south, to the northwest, to the north-central, to the northeast, and even to his own southwest, Nigerians will know that, yes, there is renewed hope. But for now, some persons are still sensing some elements of renewed shege. Let me not lie. But however, we need consistency in the delivery of these dividends, so that going into 2027, Nigerians will have a lot of positive things to think about this administration going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Comrade Bobby. I can't thank you enough. Beautiful submission. Your thoughts, insights, and perspectives are quite informative, and I'm sure that for everyone that has watched this show today, there's so much to take home. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to serve the interests of Nigerians through public affairs.
All right.
Thumbs up.
As we conclude today's episode of People's Voice, we reflect on the critical issues discussed, from the Benue state crisis to the All Progressives Congress internal dynamics and the Womanifesto Coalition stance on judicial harassment of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. It is essential to prioritize empathy, understanding, and collective action. At the end of the day, Nigerians, as we are brothers and sisters, and it's important to look out for ourselves. Let's strive for a Nigeria where every citizen's voice is heard and where every community has access to opportunities for growth and development. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged. My name is Adefunke Jaisimi, and I strongly believe in this project, Nigeria. Nigeria will be great again. Good afternoon.